So the reason why I'm making this video is because I know there's people who look just like me. I'm from Louisiana, deep south of Louisiana, and I faced a lot of racism when I was living in Louisiana. There's nothing that anybody can tell me or anything that you could call me that could trigger me, because it has already happened in my younger days in Louisiana, going to school, going all the way back to, like, just to give you a background, like, I'm from Mamou, Louisiana, and even like in high school, like my high school was pretty segregated, so there's nothing that anybody can say that I haven't already heard. I've been told, oh, you don't talk like you black, oh, you don't act like a black person, oh, you don't so I've also been told, okay, you know, you're not an N-word because you don't act like this, and this. This is what an N-word is, and all, like, down to stuff like that. And me personally, I consider that to be racist, to be honest with you. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know they're racist because they're just ignorant to the fact, and they don't listen to what they're saying. Now, I'm not saying that only black people, I'm not saying that only a certain group of people can be racist. Anybody can be racist. Black people can be racist towards somebody, and so on. So I'm not directing it towards one group of people. So I know this video is going to be a little controversial, but I know there's some other black detailers out there that feel like, man, I can't do this because I don't want to be going in these type of neighborhoods, or I don't want to, I have to look this certain way to do this. And honestly, it's not true. Most of the people, they just want their car clean. I go into predominantly white neighborhoods, I go into predominantly black neighborhoods, I go into predominantly Mexican neighborhoods, or whatever, a mixture. Texas is usually a mixture, honestly. It's mostly a mixture, depending on where you're at. If you go up to Canyon Lake, then that's not so much of a mixture. But I've been around multiple different people. I've been around people who support this, and I've been around people who support the total opposite. And I've never had, being in Texas, I never had an issue. I've never been treated differently because of the color of my skin. And honestly, it's been a very, very long time since I came across somebody who said something that was just very, like, uncomfortable as a black man. So I'm gonna get into the story of this customer and what happened. So first off, with this customer, we actually had an issue with them paying the deposit and all that stuff like that. It was a big old thing about them paying the deposit, and they felt like they didn't have to and all that. So another one I was gonna cancel. I was like, hey, I gave them the opportunity, do you want to cancel instead? They didn't. They ended up finding a way to pay the deposit, so we get there, right? So I get there, me and my fiance go, and she helps me out with the vehicle and everything. We get the vehicle done. You know, it was a silver package. I charge more. I charge about $160 for this vehicle. So it was a basic interior cleaning, mini interior with a premium wash, and it had a little bit of stuff from trees and stuff like that on the vehicle. So we get the vehicle done. I get the customer. They came outside. They checked out the vehicle and everything like that. And normally, so most customers, they'll start talking a little bit. But for me, I feel like I have like a little small conversation with them, but then eventually, you know, I got to go. I got more stuff I got to go do. But with this customer, the conversation went left, and I felt like super uncomfortable with the conversation. I'm not saying they were right, and I'm not saying they were wrong. I just felt like it was kind of semi-racist of what they were saying, but I'll let y'all be the judge, okay? So with detailing, you're gonna deal with people like this. That particular customer did not know I was black, to be honest with you, and because I didn't communicate with them through Facebook, so they only heard my voice. And I've been told multiple times, which is, I don't know why people still say this, but, oh, you don't sound like a black guy. There's no such thing as sounding like a black guy. I sound like myself. I sound like my country bumpkin self. Like, sometimes you might catch me, I may sound normal or whatever, and then sometimes you may catch me and I'm around my people, I will sound country as hell. I try to control it a little bit, the accent, but sometimes it's really hard and I don't hear it. My fiance hears it, and sometimes she doesn't understand what I'm saying, but, like, you know, if I'm talking to my people, they understand. With this claim, they started talking, about how they own the detailing business. And I was like, okay, I was listening. And then they started saying, you know, and then they started talking about how they had an employee, a blonde woman that was 6'4", thin, whatever. And so the conversation already got awkward because I have my fiance with me. And I was like, okay, Brett, like, that's man talk, but it's disrespectful because I have my, you know, like, my fiance is like right there. Like, that's disrespectful to me. And the reason why it was awkward for me is because they were looking for me to engage in the conversation. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that, man. My fiance is right there, even if she wasn't right there. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. That's disrespectful. I'm not gonna be talking about another woman. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. So then they started talking, you know, fantasizing about this woman. And then they were like, you know, I don't want a brother to go and get her. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm ready to go now. Like, totally like over it, ready to go, pay my invoice, I'm ready to go. And I'm gonna say this, I don't like when people switch up their vocabulary or they say something only because I'm black. So I can tell when something is a part of your vocabulary. So the word brother, I mean, a lot of people use it, and most people use it. I've been around people who say that, and they're like, oh, you know, they being like, not a friend, but it's hard to explain. The way that this client used it was because I was black. And I was like, man, you know, whatever. You know, maybe I'm overthinking it or whatever, but I'm like, whatever. And then, this is how I knew they only said that because I was black, because then they tried to come back and kind of like, they tried to come back and justify what they were saying, and then was like, you know, I don't say that, I'm not, it's like somebody saying something, and it's like somebody saying, oh, I'm not racist because I'm black, I'm not racist because I have black friends, I'm not racist because of this. But they came back and was like, you know, I'm not just saying that because they basically told me they wasn't saying that because I was black. But I'm like, yes you are. In my head I'm like, yes you are. And then I know for sure, because then the conversation got even more awkward, because then they were like, you know, a long time ago, a while back, so the client told me a while back, they did a survey here, and they asked all the black people, all the white people, and all the Asian people, and every other group of people, who they thought was the most racist. And this has nothing to do, at this point I'm like, this has nothing to do with the vehicle. Not only that, now you just justifying what I'm already thinking of you saying what you said only because I'm black. Now it's got even more awkward, because I'm like, please don't finish that. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. They continued on. It was like, you know, everybody said that black people was the most racist. And at that point, I'm like, even if that's true, I don't care. And even if he would have said if it was a different group of people, I wouldn't have cared, because I don't talk about those type of things when I'm doing business. That stuff does not matter to me when I'm doing business. I don't get political when I'm doing business. I don't care, and when I'm doing business, I don't care who's the president. I don't care to talk about the president. I don't care if it's Biden or Trump. I don't give a damn. Like, I'm just strictly here to do business, and that's it. All that other stuff is personal stuff that you have to literally take out, because it brings the worst out of everybody. So I don't talk about it. I keep it to myself. I may talk about it to people that are friends or people I know and stuff like that, not with customers or somebody I'm working with or whatever. So then when he said that, I'm like, it's even more awkward, because it's like, I'm black, so what do you, like, at that point I'm like, what are you trying to say? Like, I don't understand, what are you trying to say? I guess they saw that I was very uncomfortable, because I'm like, I don't understand where this conversation is going. And then they came back and were like, yeah, so when I say brother, I mean, you know, I don't judge nobody off the color of their skin. But I'm like, you saying brother because I'm black. You just told me a story about black people being the most racist people out there because I'm black. And the only thing I could think of is, if I wasn't black, would he have still said the same thing? You know, like, that's the crazy part about things. But if you encounter something like that, the best thing to do is not engage in it. Even though if you may feel the opposite of what they're saying, the best thing to do is let that client do what they do, and you go on about your business, and you leave it at where it's at. Don't get your feelings caught up in it or anything. That's how I dealt with it. I let them finish. I let them finish with what they were saying, and then that was it. Hey, have a good day. And I got into my van and I left. Probably won't ever do a vehicle for them again, because that was very awkward. And it's just, I felt like it was like kind of racist in a way, but then that's just how I feel. You know, somebody else may feel like, y'all may be watching this and be like, man, that wasn't racist at all. But I've dealt with a lot of racist people in my life. In my little short 25 years of life, I've dealt and seen a lot of racist people. And I've learned that just some people just don't know, or they're just ignorant to the fact of really learning. And you have to watch what you say. And some people, I feel like, do change their vocabulary according to who you are or the color of your skin. People will talk a certain way or whatever. Like black people will get their white person voice on, which that's not a thing. You can't sound like a white person. You can't sound like a black person. You can only sound like yourself. So I'm very aware of situations like that. And I mean, I've been around people that are worse. So I know how to not let it affect me to the point to where I react. Because I feel like that particular client was trying to get a reaction out of me. Because I'm like, why would you tell me as a black person that we are the most racist people in the world? It just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, that's just something that you should keep to yourself. I'm not gonna go to somebody of their code like, hey, your people is the most racist people in the world. I'm not gonna do that. It's just not right, you know? So, was that customer racist? I don't know. I think at one point they may have had a racist bone in them. I do heavily feel like they were surprised to see like a black guy walk into their office, because I did not talk to them over Facebook, and they didn't know what I looked like. They just knew my voice over the phone. That was it. So I think they may have been surprised. And I've noticed when people are surprised by something like that, they tend to do stuff like that, like those awkward moments like that. But I don't know. Y'all comment down below. Let me know what you think. But there's nothing that I could have done about that. But do what I had already did, was just be quiet, listen, leave, and I don't have to do a car for them anymore, because I felt really uncomfortable, and I felt like it was unnecessary with what they were saying, and it didn't have anything to do with the business that we were doing. I'm here to do a service, and I felt like if I was not black, would you have still told somebody that? Would the conversation have stemmed towards something of the color of my skin? Because you're saying you don't see black and white, but then you're telling me stuff about black and white. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, like I said, I'll probably never do a car for them again. Off of just the fact that I just felt uncomfortable. And I'm like, man, what if I would have reacted to their to that comment? Because I mean, I'm black, obviously, and you're telling me my people is the most racist people in the world. Which, honestly, to be honest with y'all, I mean, we outnumber. It really doesn't make sense. Like, number-wise, that does not make sense. I mean, I may be wrong, but it just doesn't make sense because we're outnumbered. So how could we be the most racist people in the world if we outnumbered? But that's a different conversation for a different channel or whatever, or a different time of day. I just felt like real uncomfortable, you know, with that client. So, like I said, whenever you encounter someone like that, you just got to let them talk and go about your way. So if you're black and you're thinking about, if you're black and you're thinking about opening a detailing business, and you worried about what people are gonna think about, think about you, and you're worried about, okay, what are people gonna think about me if I go here, if I go there? Most people don't care. As long as their car is clean, trust me, they do not care. This is that one time where I meet a customer that says something that's just like, you know, but when you do encounter that person, you probably will one day. That's all you have to do. Let them talk, get your payment, leave, and then you can label them as do not service. So that way when they do contact you for another service, if they ever do, you don't have to feel uncomfortable anymore of going there, because you have your own business and you can pick and choose who you want to service. So that's just my I'm gonna start sharing some of my experiences with y'all and stuff like that, so we can have a discussion on whether y'all would do something like that, and maybe somebody get motivation, and maybe it helps somebody that's going through the same thing, or went through the same thing I did. So thank you for watching. Make sure y'all comment down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see y'all in the next one.